All right, so I'm continuing to make videos that explain the difference between base 10 and base 12, where we are actually becoming aware that there are significant differences. So in this video, we're looking at the Fibonacci sequence. So I've written the Fibonacci sequence here from a base 10 perspective. You can see that column of numbers there. And the way that we generate these numbers is we take our first number and we add the previous number to get the next number. So we start with 1, we add the 0 before to get another 1. Then 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, and so on. So that's how we generate this column of numbers in base 10. So on this side, I've done exactly the same thing, but from a base 12 perspective. So let's forget about that decimal place for a second and just look at the series of numbers. You can see it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Then here we have a number that looks like 11, but it's in base 12, so it's called 1 do 1. Or 1 do 1, 1 dozen plus 1, so 12 plus 1 is 13. Here we have 1 do 9, so 12 plus 9 is 21. 2 do dec, or 2 dozen plus 10, 12 and 12 is 24, plus 10 is 34, and so on. So we can see that these numbers are exactly the same as these numbers, although they're just written differently or they're grouped differently. There's a different structure to those numbers. So we notice here on the 12th iteration of the pattern in base 10, we get the number 144, which we know is 12 12s. So in base 12, we get a number that looks like 100, 100. So we can see there's a 12ness built into this series of numbers. So here's the first 12, then the pattern continues in base 10 and base 12. And then here at the 24th iteration of the pattern, we see 00 again. Then after that, 01 as the ending, the last two numbers of these larger numbers. And so what happens in base 12 is this complete pattern of 24 numbers starting at 00, 01, 01, all the way down to 01. That starts again, 00, 01. Then that repeats again. So there's a pattern of 24 numbers. The last two numbers of all these much larger numbers keeps repeating and repeating every 24 iterations of the pattern. So that's the first difference between base 10 and base 12, is that in base 12, even though all we're doing is just rearranging the numbers, the same overall amount, but we're rearranging it in groups of 12, and we see this pattern emerge. So we can sort of see that there's a 12ness built in to the Fibonacci sequence that we weren't aware of in base 10. So in the next video, we're going to look at some other aspects and what the meaning of this is and what happens when we make this or return these numbers into decimal places. What new patterns emerge from the Fibonacci sequence when we look at it from its decimal version in base 12.